All right, I trust you.
Good job. Before we get started, I'm going to turn it over here to Steve Stone, who's been one of the key organizers.
So close to the ocean, it's hard to
He'll get us started.
Maybe.
We're going to start in the tradition.
Maybe. Yeah, I'm gone. All right, well, keep trying. You just stick that extra stuff in your pocket, I guess.
And he's going to start with a traditional blessing, and hopefully he'll say a few words about the Mother Earth. So please welcome my brother.
Thank you. First, I'd like to share that the territory we're on is for the Wainenyo or the Ahashiman. Jackie Nunez isn't here right now, and she's probably either on her way or something else is happening. But the important part here is for us to understand where we're actually standing. Can you hear me okay? Because it's very important that the message get out that the Native American that's lived here for 10,000 years of sustainability living, sustainability, something that we're striving for again. And it seems that we come to a place that we've gone past technology and we're looking at the actually poisoning of Mother Earth. It's hard to say that because all Earth is sacred, and it's in our generation, our time, to be here to try to protect Mother Earth. It's not an easy thing to do, as we find out. I'm from the San Luis Rey Band of Mission Indians, which is down the road a little bit. We have sacred sites that have been destroyed or in the process of being destroyed. We have our water being contaminated. We have threats of no water that's going to affect all of us. It's affecting us now. So with the water, the air, the earth, the animals, we have to protect everything that needs this environment to live. And it's up to us to do something about it. I don't know how much power we have to do something about it, so we have to find that strength and unity. I'm proud to be here walking amongst you today to do something. I'd like to take a minute now and ask the Creator to look down on us. Oh, Grandfather, so the people here are asking for your help to do what they can to protect Mother Earth. That's Mother Earth to protect us back. We're asking all the spirits, our great spirit, and the spirit within us, and our hearts, and our minds, to give us the courage and the direction. We ask the people who are in charge of these many projects and powerful things that are giving us electricity, but at a price that maybe that is too great to pay. We ask for the healing of Mother Earth. We ask for the healing of our people. We ask for the opening of our hearts and the clarity of mind to go forward. Thank you.
That was nice. Thank you very much. Again, thank you for coming. Really appreciate this great turnout. Getting all the way over here into this remote spot, but it's really not that remote, as we know. This nuclear reactor is, I just want to set the stage here. We are on the anniversary of the largest tidal wave disaster and meltdown in history. This is March 11th. It's a very solemn occasion because they lost some 14,000 people in Japan due to this disaster. But it's continuing. The Fukushima plant is in a level 7 meltdown. It's continuing to melt down. There's no end in sight. It's completely out of control. This plant that you see behind us is almost a replica of the situation in Japan. It's a plant right along the coast. It's a plant subject to earthquakes and tidal waves. So it is a situation that you may see a lot of glorious safety talk amongst the people that are making their money off of this thing. It was about how safe this is, because they're looking at billions of dollars coming into their pockets. Don't believe a word of it. This is one of the worst examples of a catastrophe waiting to happen behind us. We have a whole list of speakers that are coming up, but first I want to put out some thank yous that help me in thanking these people. First of all, I want to thank the park for helping us set this up. Let's give a hand to the park. And of course the sheriffs and law enforcement, let's give them a hand for helping us today. Of course, the workers at the plant who stuck their neck out and got this plant shut down for right now. Let's give them a hand. And I won't be able to clap, but I'll clap anyway. The organizing committee, because I'm on it, I'll accept your clapping. I worked my butt off, I'll admit, for this. Give it to the organizing committee. Dean Stone, raise your hand. Carol Jan Cow. And all the other speakers and endorsers that you'll hear about today. Marcia, raise your hand. The bus organizing did an excellent job. I'm Ray Lutz. Sorry. Ray Lutz, yeah. Now, why am I here? Well, I'm a citizen like you. But I've been running a thing called Citizens Oversight. It's been the way that I've been able to make the most impact on the disastrous things in our economy, the profiteering like the example behind us, and that is by getting people to go to public meetings and to take part in actions such as this. So this is exactly what Citizens Oversight is all about, encouraging people to do what they're supposed to do. Also, I'd like to say, I don't have a whole bunch of brochures for Citizens Oversight yet. We're working on that. But there's Air Progressive Radio, which I've been setting up. Get a card and start listening to that. It's a streaming radio. It's got great environmental shows 11 a.m. every day. So, and they talk about the disaster of Fukushima as well. I want to first, we want to get right into the meat of our rally, because we don't want to have not enough time to actually cover our guests from Japan that have been flown in from the Fukushima area specifically for this event. And that did cost some money, so when you think about when the thing gets passed around, please be generous and help us out to cover the expenses of getting these people here. Before we do that, we had a nice prayer from the Native American tribes in the area. I suggest that now we that we commemorate the disaster with a moment of silence. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a real problem here. It's called safety versus profits. We have to fight this battle until we win. Yeah. I'm not too good at this type of thing, as you can see. So let's let's move along to the hearing from these people who are some of the survivors, lucky survivors from the tsunami in Japan. Again, oh wait, there's the train. Yay, train! Every time that goes by, let them know we're here, folks. They can't hear us, but you know, can wave at them. 14,000 people died in the tsunami. I don't know if you've seen some of the video coverage. I saw it the other night of people that were floating in their cars and trying to run to higher ground. We're going to be getting all of those buildings and all of that crud on our shores within the next 2 years, and then people will continue to remember what a disaster that was. And the radioactive water also is going to be washing up on shore here. If we have a similar situation here, which could happen at any minute, we could have a disastrous earthquake that they've been predicting for decades. And if that happens, when it happens, this plant had better be shut down, because I don't want to see what happens. Now, in Japan, we have the situation there. What happened was that the owners of this plant, they did not tell the public how bad it was. They knew that it was going to go into meltdown. They've been finding out now very early on. They didn't tell the public what was going on. And as a result, the public was exposed to radiation. They didn't realize you can't see it, you can't smell it, you can't really touch it. And yet it was exposing everyone there for weeks on end. So what we'd like to do is invite the residents that have been here. Is there something else? Yeah. I'd like to have Gene do the introductions again.
It's my honor to introduce our delegates from Japan, and our interpreter, Umi, will make the introductions. We thank you so much for coming. It is an honor that you came to join in our struggle so that the same type of disaster that happened will not happen here.
So thank you for everybody for organizing this weekend for the first anniversary of Fukushima. My name is Umi, the interpreter, who is from Oakland. And she is Kyoko Sugasawa, Kyoko Sugasawa. She's from Sendai City, Miyagi, the survivor of tsunami and ongoing nuclear disaster. And his name is Hirohide Sakuma, Hirohide and he was born in Fukushima City, and now he lives in Sendai City, Miyagi. And Sendai City is about like 60 miles away from Fukushima Daiichi reactor, which is a little bit far away from here to Los Angeles.
Welcome.
Hello. I'm glad that you are here today. 仙台で起きた、福島で起きたことを私も311前は大変だっていうことを知らなくて、その起きた時も知らなくて、後で調べていくうちに原発の恐ろしさ、核の恐ろしさを知りました。このカリフォルニア、とてもいいところなので、みんなで原発を早く止めるように動いていってほしいし、日本の原発もすべて廃炉、そして世界も全部核はなくなるように、私はここにやってきました。So, I didn't know anything about the danger of the nuclear catastrophe until the March 11 happened. And I came to this beautiful community of San Onofre and San Clemente. And then I learned about this, like, you have the songs and you are facing the same kind of disastrous situation. And I would like to shut down all the reactors, including this one.
and I'm also against nuclear weapon or mining, and I came here to hold hands with everybody. Thank you for inviting me.
日本政府は今、本当の真実を私たちに伝えてくれていません。私はただの日本のお母さんで、とっても子供の未来が心配なんです。本当のことを日本のお母さんたちみんなで知って、みんなで考えるっていうこと大切なことなんです。それでまずはここの人たちにも、若い お母さん、子供をこれから作る人たちにもすっごい知ってほしいと思います。日本の政府は福島に子供たちをいまだに住まわせています。今までは1年1ミリだったのに、子供は20ミリ、大人は100ミリと引き上げてしまって、今日本は実験されている、福島の子供たちは実験されてるって本当に思います。どうにか早く避難させる方向に、ここの人たちも日本政府に伝えてください、言ってください、一緒に声上げてください。
Government has been telling, like industry is telling us lies, and kids are surviving that situation. And as a mother, I see the faces of young people, youth, kids, and other mothers and parents, and we're the ones who's fighting. And I would like to, I hope if we can evacuate everybody from Fukushima, mostly the children, but it's not happening. So together, if we can raise our awareness, if we can study together, as we mothers from Fukushima and Japan are doing, then we are able to stop and raise our awareness and study and stop this calamity. Sorry, I missed one thing. So what the Japanese government is saying is that the standard limit for the people to be, the standard for the limitation for the people to be externally exposed to the radiation, that has been 1 millisieverts per year. And now the Japanese government and industry has changed. Then now it is okay for kids to be exposed to 20 millisieverts per year. Boom. And 100 millisieverts for adults. That's good, right? So we have been told. You can hear? So yeah, so we should stop their lies. Sorry.
Hello everyone, 皆さんこんにちは。宮城県の仙台市から来ました佐久間博秀と言います。今日はとてもいいお天気で美しい景色で、こちらに来て美味しいものもたくさん食べさせていただいて、本当にお招きいただいてどうもありがとうございます。そして一般通訳の海さん、お世話してくださっているお父さんお母さん、本当にありがとうございます。そしてここでちょっと個人的な内輪なことなんだけども、私の娘と私の妻にも感謝の弁を述べさせてください。本当にどうもありがとう。
First of all, I would like to thank you for all the communities who are concerned and who have been praying for us. The people who organized this event, the media who's coming, and the mothers and fathers who are letting us stay. And we enjoy this beautiful community. We had good food without worrying about the contamination, not as much as we do in Japan. And beautiful sunshine, beautiful beach. And I would like to thank, and we feel so honored to be here. And I would like to say my prayer, and I would also like to thank my wife and the little 2-year-old daughter who sent me here. Thank you so much.
もしかしたら皆さんは、福島シティから来た人のね話を聞きたかったかもしれません。私たちは宮城県仙台市、私たちが住んでいる宮城県仙台市というところは福島第一原発から約100キロ離れたところにあります。で、いろんな津波とか地震とか 放射能汚染とか今大変な問題いっぱい抱えてるんだけれども、実はね、我々日本人っていうのはその実態がよく分かっていません。っていうのは悲惨な写真だとか悲惨な映像、もう手をつけられないような映像っていうのは実は日本の新聞とかテレビではあまり見ません。ほとんど見ないと言って全くないと言ってもいいかもしれない。で実はそういったものをどこから見ることができるかっていうと、インターネットを通じて外国のメディアの皆さんから教えてもらってるんです。これはあんまり僕はいいことだとは思っていません。で、もう一つ言わせてもらうと、日本にはスピーディーといって、放射能の拡散を予測するコンピューターがあります。130億円かけて作られて、毎年そのコンピューターを運用するに7億円かかってるんだけれども、結局そのスピーディーというものは福島の人たちの被爆を防ぐことができなかった。逃げる過程で無用な被爆をした人たちがたくさんいます。その中には多くの子供もいたことだと思います。まあ一言で言うと、何やってんだと、もう本当に日本人としてがっかりしているところです。
One of the things that I may say is that maybe you've been expecting to hear the word from somebody who is from Fukushima, but I am from Miyagi, the neighboring state. And as I can say as a person who is from Japan, it's like we Japanese and people from Japan are kept away from all the things that you may have witnessed on the internet, all the devastations, tsunamis, or like nuclear fallouts. There's a media shutdown and the government propaganda. So the kind of the information that you get overseas or outside are not in hands of us. And that's why things are so confusing. For example, one of the things that, after the fallout or even before the fallout, there's this system called the SPEEDY. So it can predict how the wind or the air can spread the contamination throughout the air. And the government and the military have that information, but they are still not giving us that information. We're fighting for that, but that kind of misinterpretation and misinformation, it's so dominant.
Sounds like our media.
Very shameful.
Yeah, they said that they're ashamed of the Japanese government.
We're ashamed too.
海外カウンターを見せてくれという希望なので、ちょっとご覧に入れたいと思います。はい。こちらはロシア製、こっちは皆さんの国アメリカ製。
So people want to see dosimeters. So what she has is from Ukraine, which she purchased on her own, and what he has is an American-made one, which he purchased on his own. Geiger counters.
今両方とも同じ数値、0.07 マイクロシーベルト per hour。
It's 0.07 microsieverts per an hour.
で、この数字が高いのか低いのか安全なのか危険なのかというのは正直分かりません。なかなか判断するのは難しい。で、せっかく仙台から来たので仙台の話をしたいんですけども、福島から100キロ離れているということで仙台市というところは安全だと言われています。原発が爆発した時に、皆さんの国アメリカの政府も、日本に滞在しているアメリカ側の市民に対して原発から80キロより遠くに逃げなさいというふうに、勧告があったと思います。仙台はその80キロよりも外にあるので安全だと言われているんだけれども、果たして本当に安全なんだろうかという疑問はどうしても残ります。
What we still wonder is that so 0.07 microsieverts here, this close at San Onofre, this is the upper wind side. Is this safe? I can't still tell because after the Fukushima fallout, everybody who was in like 80 kilometers, for example, from here to LA is like 60 miles. It's about the distance between Fukushima Daiichi reactors and where they live. So technically, or according to what government says, like our place is the same. Our place is the safe place. So we don't have to evacuate. But we wonder if that's true.
今、仙台市内の空間線量は、大体平均的には 0.01 マイクロシーベルトぐらいなんですけれども、駅前はもっと低い、その半分ぐらいの 0.05 マイクロシーベルト。それはなぜ低くなっているか、もちろん原発から出てくる放射能がだんだん少なくなったということもあるんですけれども、根本的には駅前はそのコンクリートとかアスファルトばかりで土がないからだというふうに言われています。
If you measure this can, measure the air and the soil. And in the Miyagi city, for example, at the Miyagi station, the concrete on the surface of asphalt or concrete, where it is easy to clean up, it reads about like 0.01, and sometimes it goes to higher in the soiled area. Uncontaminated area may have something higher than this. But remember, that's Miyagi in the past Fukushima, and this is higher.
仙台の通常、事件発事故が起きる前の値というのは 0.02 から 0.05 のぐらいだったので、それに比べるとちょっと高いけれどもそうでもない。それでだんだん線量が下がってきてるんで、市民はすっかり安心しきっています。ただし空間線量と土の汚染っていうのは必ずしも比例しないんです。だから、僕たち、例えば僕は自分の娘が通っている保育所の土が心配で、保育所に黙って土を持ち出してそれを検査場に持っていきました。ちょっと3000円ぐらいかかっちゃったけども、そんなのは全然構わない。自分の娘たちの子供たちの安全のための出費なので全くいとわないんだけれども、そうやって測ってみると線量が低いところでもチェルノブイリ並みに土が汚染されているっていうことが分かるんです。
So what was before Fukushima in Sendai City was lower than this. It was like a 0.02 microsievert. And sometimes there's a reading in the air contamination in the Miyagi tells that it's decreasing even after Fukushima. So people feel somewhat safer, but I don't trust that reading. So I went into the kindergarten. I sneaked into the kindergarten where my kid goes. She's 2-year-old. And then I stole the soil. I stole the soil from the kindergarten and I paid like about $34, and I asked the citizens monitoring center to measure it, and some of them are as contaminated as it is in Fukushima.
それでね、サンクレメントの皆さんとお話をして、このオノフェ原発のことについていろいろとお話をしていると、私たちは福島のような事故が起きらないと原発を止めることができないのかっていうふうに昨日聞かれました。はい。原発を止めるには福島の事故のようなことが起きないとダメなのか。
So I learned so much about the songs with the people from San Clemente community, and I was asked this: does it take for the U.S. people, does it take Fukushima level of accident to happen in order for San Clemente people to realize that it is dangerous?
そうなんじゃないかと。いやでもね、皆さんの国では1回3マイル島の原発事故っていうのを経験しているはずです。僕もいろんな本を読んで知ってます。上っ面しかね知らないかもしれないけども、3マイル島で原発事故が起きた時に何も健康被害がなかったというふうに聞いてるんだけれども、そうじゃないはずです。風下でたくさんの人たちが病気になっているはずです。ですからこの原発を止めたいと思うのであれば、ぜひ3マイル島の事故をですね、もう一度皆さんの手で検証してみてはいかがでしょうか。
But you have experienced 3 Mile Island. So what I would suggest, if you really want to stop songs, what people from 3 Mile Island experienced, we have to check that and we have to research on that. We have to study what are the gaps between what the government told. The government always said, and industry always told, that there is no immediate health effect to the people who live, around 3 Mile Island. And I studied about that, and I know that's not true. I know that's not, real. And so I propose, if you really want to stop songs, you can learn from Fukushima, but also from 3 Miles.
じゃあ長くなるので最後に、お話ししたいと思います。これだけたくさんの人が集まってくださっているにもかかわらず、なかなかそのカリフォルニアでも反原発というものがなんていうのかな、大きなムーブメントになっていかないというか、無関心な方が多いというか、で僕らこれだけ大きな事故を日本で経験しても、子どものために心配だと思ってね、いろんな土を測ったり染料を測ったりして科学的なデータをきちんと集めたいと思ってるんですけども、あまりねいろいろなんていうのかな、やりすぎるとあの人バカなんじゃないのって思われてるんですよ。でも今ここでは全くそんな悔しい思いはしていません。いろんな情報を皆さんと一緒にね、海を越えて共有できればいいなと思っています。今日はどうもありがとうございました。
The situation is the same here and there, like people are, even in Japan, are apathetic about the anti-nukes movement, not because people are ignorant, but people don't want to know about the truth because it's scary. And over there in Japan, when I talk enthusiastically about the anti-nukes concerns, I am told, oh, you're crazy. But here, I am not crazy because you are standing with us. We came across the ocean, and I feel the warmth of solidarity from you, and I really thank from the bottom of my heart.
3.11の日本の福島原発の震災を経験して、被爆者という日本の鎌中ひとみさんが監督のドキュメンタリー映画を見てびっくりしたんですが、アメリカのハーフォード、そこにある原発から出て川島の人たちが次々がんになっていくっていう話も聞いて、そしてその場所で採れたフライドポテトがマクドナルドになって日本にも流れて全世界にも流れていってるっていう話を聞いて、とてももうマクドナルドの食べたくないななんて知ることができました。昨日
So before I came here, I studied about the anti-nukes movement in the U.S. and I learned about Hanford. And then I learned that contaminated water really affect the people from there, and there are people who are affected by this. And also potatoes from the Hanford are bought by McDonald's. So I feel it's so scary, and I've decided not to eat at McDonald's again.
ガイガーカウンターでね、Tストリートビーチをね、測ったら 0.13、仙台よりも高い空間線量が出てて、そこで水着で子供たち裸足で遊ばせてるのもちょっと怖いなって思いました。
I saw people at the beautiful beach at the T Street, and I saw people in bikinis, and kids were playing on the sand and barefoot, and I was really, really scared.
これから、チェルノブイリの人たちのことを学んだんですが、日本の子どもたちもいろんな症状が現れてて必死にこれから頑張ろうとしているので、ぜひできれば、福島に病院を建てたいので、その資金援助と宮城仙台市の学校給食の測る機械の援助、もしどなたか皆さんのお金が集まれば私たちすごく助かるので、ぜひカンパなどしていただけたら嬉しいです。
There are particular things that I want to ask you. Like we would like to build in clinics for the people for monitoring, to check the food and to accumulate the to archive the health condition of kids in Miyagi, where people are not able to evacuate. And also we would like to get, the money, and the people would, if people can donate the money or donate the power to work with us to change the situation. For example, I would like to change the situation of school meals. It shouldn't be contaminated. It shouldn't be provided for kids. So we can work together to change these day-to-day things.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Tell us your name.
Thank you very much.
Tell us your name. Yours.
My name is Umi Hagitani, and I'm from No Nukes Action
Spell it.
from Oakland. Okay.
Spell your name for us.
I am being asked to say we are the 99% in Japanese, and I don't have the chance. なんか日本語で原発反対みたいななんかスローガンとかありました。原発反対。So instead of saying that, because like people from occupied Tokyo are the mothers of Fukushima, who is occupying inside of the METI, the Ministry of Industry and Economy. And also, we would like to remember about anti-military activists from Okinawa who has been like occupying and trying to decolonize. So we would like to give our hearts for those people who are fighting against the nuclear military industrial complex. And so we can say Genpatsu Hantai. Hantai is like no. Genpatsu is a nuclear power plant. Genpatsu Hantai. 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 Genpatsu Hantai.
I learned a couple of words when I was in Japan. I'll teach you a couple right now, and they're very easy. One of them is like Monday night. Okay, it's Monday night. Okay, say Monday night. It means no problem. And then day Monday, Dai Mondai, big problem. Dai Mondai. Dai Mondai. Dai Mondai.
How do you say mic check?
I don't know. I only spent about a few months over there, but it was very interesting. All right, let's move along now. I think let's give another round of applause to our guests from Japan. Very, very interesting stories, and hopefully we can get something under control over there. Is Ace Hoffman available?
He's right here.
Right here. I'd like to invite Ace Hoffman up to talk about some of the technical issues, and then after that I'd like to have the Acapella Choir give us a little bit of interlude before we go on. Ace Hoffman is well known for his investigations into the nuclear industry and the issues with regard to the safety and some of the profiteering that goes on. So give a welcome to Ace.
Wow, it's wonderful to see you here. This is the biggest crowd I've ever seen against nukes. Prior to, or since 1979, 1980, when we used to protest 3 Mile Island and all of that. And what's happened is we've all gotten pretty stupid, and we've forgotten the lessons. Back in the 60s, they did know we had to get rid of these plants. So rather than try to get everyone brought up to date, I'm going to try and just talk about what's actually happening there. And none of this may be right, because it's all based on hearsay and whistleblowers and ex-workers and articles and speculation. But what we think is happening there is that in one of the units, Unit 2, they had degradation in the steam tubes. The generators, there's 2 generators in each reactor. Now these are different from Fukushima, where there are no steam generators, because Fukushima are boiling water reactors. So they boil the water and steam comes out. In our reactors, they're pressurized water reactors. So they heat the water up
but under pressure so that it will not boil. And then they run the very hot water through tubes, very thin tubes, the thickness of a credit card. And there's 10,000 of each of these tubes in each of 2 steam generators. So that's the difference between our reactor and Fukushima. Ours is under a lot of pressure. It's called a pressurized water reactor, and those are called boiling water reactors. So really, have you ever heard anyone trying to tell you in the last year that these are safer and less likely to blow up?
Yes.
They're not. They're at least as likely, and they're not any safer. And what happened is, in Unit 2, they put in new steam generators because the old ones had worn out prematurely. And they discovered in just a little over a year that those were wearing out where they were held to the brackets that were holding them. They'd shake, and they had 30% wear on 2 of them, and 20% wear on, I think, about 60, 70 of them, and at least 10% wear on 800. And remember, there's about 10,000 of these tubes, so that's almost 10% of them have worn out or are wearing significantly, and 5% on countless. So they had a huge problem with them, and not only that, but the reactor pressure vessel head, the reactor pressure vessel looks like a pill, but it's huge. And the top of one of the reactor pressure vessel head in Ohio, Davis-Besse plant, had actually worn a hole all the way through it, as big as a football. And the only thing protecting Ohio from a Fukushima, this was in 2002, was the stainless steel liner, which was about 1/8 of an inch thick, and it was bulging. We came that close to Fukushima here in America. So over here, we've got these reactor parts that are wearing out, and when they decided to replace the steam generator, the last time they did a refueling, they looked at the new steam generators, and they were wearing, and they were replacing the reactor pressure vessel head at the time because it had worn out. And they keep telling us that they're doing routine maintenance on Unit 2 in the last few months. Reactor pressure vessel head was never supposed to be replaced. How can anyone call that routine? So while they're in the midst of doing that, Unit 3, which also has 2 new steam generators, ruptured. One of those 10,000 tubes in Unit 2 simply split, about a 5-inch crack. And they don't know why. And so right now, we are in 100% solidarity with the people at Onofre. They don't want to run that reactor because they don't think it's safe. We don't want them to run the reactor because we don't think it's safe. There is unfortunately one difference. None of us are making any money from the reactor when it's running, and they are losing money at the rate of about $1 million a day per reactor. This is a powerful incentive to restart those reactors. But there is no other reason to restart it. We have wind, we have sun, we have tides.
Lights are on at my house.
We haven't, and the lights are on. And how can we possibly not get ready for summer? We maybe open the windows a little more, close the curtains during the day a little so we don't have to use the air conditioning. Now, how can we possibly think that we need this power plant? We've been doing fine for a month without it. So let's all thank San Onofre for staying down for a month and hope they stay down forever. Thank you very much.
Okay, we're going to have let's change the order a little bit because we want to, right after this, we're going to have the Acapellas Choir, so I want you to get ready to go. Right now, I'd like to...
We've been ready.
Are you ready? Okay, well, let's go ahead with that order. To get my arm twisted here. I'd like to introduce the Acapella Choir. Come on up. Give them a hand.
You know I never shut up.
Just want to say that, you know how powerful this is to have these women go to events and sing with the songs that they have, making a point. You know, how can you arrest or go against a group like this? You really can't. So this is why they have the power. Take it away.
Protest G-powered nuclear, it's something to dismay. Remember Fukushima went molten on this day to show us all atomic power can really go astray. There are tidings of sorrow and fear, sorrow and fear. There are tidings of sorrow and fear. Built on fault and coastal lines so we can live so well. But earthquake and tsunami create a living hell. We cannot take such chances shown and pleasantly here dwell. There are tidings of sorrow and fear, sorrow and fear. There are tidings of sorrow and fear. Yeah. Lemon tree, oh so pretty, and the lemon flower is sweet, but the fruit of the lemon is impossible to eat. San Onofre is a lemon, and its poison is no treat. Breakdowns are common, nuclear power obsolete. We don't need nuclear power, and its presence we resent as we wait hour by hour for another accident. We don't want a power plant full of radiation. We want other energy, such as power from the sun. So whatever can we do? Demand a change in policy. Find a safer energy that would bring us back to no, 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 no. We don't want an accident like what happened in Japan. Leaks, explosions will occur. San Onofre we should ban. So whatever can we do? Demand a change in policy. Demand the plants we all shut down. Get the power back to you.
Oh, yeah. That was good. Great job.
Very, very nice. Let's give them one more round of applause. Okay, what we're going to do is have one of our most renowned speakers come up. This woman I met at the various political events, and she has been mostly, from my point of view, an activist. She's the chair of the Progressive Democrats of America, which is the left wing of the Democratic wing of the Democratic Party, they say, and so she has been an activist in many, many respects, including environmental, but also she is an actress in her own right, has done a lot of acting both on television and in theater and in the motion picture industry. Most recently in the movie Midnight in Paris, as the sort of right-winger, uptight, not like Mimi at all, Helen in the movie. Yeah, that was her role. But that's a good movie, by the way. If you haven't seen it yet, check out Midnight in Paris. I really like that one. So let's give a round of applause to Mimi Kennedy from the Hollywood area and Vanessa Democrat.
Thank you, Ray. I want to thank everybody who's put this together. This is really fantastic. Marion Pack, who invited me, and Ray. I'm very moved by the presence of our Japanese activist friends, and you will see why. I took this so seriously. I haven't spoken on this issue before, not because I didn't want to. I've said for 20 years if I ever stood on the hustings for anything, it would be against nuclear power and nuclear weapons. And here I am at last. So I took it so seriously. I've written my story down, and I hope it stands. And as an actress, I'll hope to read it dramatically, as I would generally just speak from my heart. But this is my first time. I need to tell this story, and you'll understand why I was so good at playing that uptight Republican in Midnight in Paris. All right. My father, Daniel Gerald Kennedy, fought in the Pacific in World War II. He was told the Japanese were his enemy. He spent a lifetime explaining his guilt to me about the dropping of the atom bombs. But he said, and he believed, because he was taught, that it saved hundreds of thousands of American and Japanese lives. Other than that, he never talked about the war. He was traumatized by the violence, and he wouldn't even see violent movies. In the 60s, he was a prominent lawyer in Rochester, New York, and he was appointed counsel for our gas and electric company, which built a nuclear power plant on Lake Ontario. And I remember his excitement, because it was the future, he said. He had known the litigation about coke, sludge, and acid rain, and coal burning, and the smokestack scrubbers, and old energy was dirty, and nuclear power was clean. There would be no litigation aspects that you could really see. He said there was a little power about the waste, but there were these salt caves in Nevada, and at any rate, private business, and our gas and electric company was a private company. Private business knew best how to dispose of the waste and what to do. The government mustn't get involved, because the government always messed things up. This was in the day when Eisenhower, shortly after he had alerted us, the military-industrial complex, and he was right about that, would mess things up. So my true believing father, my Harvard law-educated father, who had been the editor of a humor magazine in college and caught the eye of the New Yorker magazine editors, my man of letters father, drew the atom on his dinner napkin for us. And he was so excited about it. He had become Mr. Wizard for his own kids. And at that point, I knew at age 12 or 13, whatever I was, something was wrong here. My father wasn't a scientist, and somebody was pulling the wool over his eyes. I knew it to my toes, the top of my head and the tip of my toes. And it was the Atomic Energy Commission in Washington, where he had gone as general counsel to listen about atomic energy. Now, I think you all know that because of Washington, the nuclear energy industry got a pass on liability.
Should anything go wrong, there wasn't enough money in any of the energy industries, to pay off the damages that would ensue. So they asked the nuclear power plants to put together a little pool of about $6 billion. No private insurer would insure for nuclear against nuclear accidents. So the insurers of record are us. They call it the government, but what's the government? It's us. We, the taxpayers, will insure for nuclear evacuations, accidents, cancer, birth defects, and the loss of agriculture on into the century. Tell your Tea Party friends and relatives. Imagine what that will do to the deficit and the budget. That is the state of affairs. Now, why, given the financial, would we even think about making more power plants, let alone licensing the ones we have? It's crazy. That's the financial part. But the moral part, what we are doing to the DNA, the RNA, the genetic blueprint of this earth on which we depend, is so immoral. It's murder, and it's mass murder. Now, why don't we know that? Why aren't there as many people here as would say get angry about a big celebrity murder trial? Why not? Murder's going on, and slow death by cancer? Well, I think some of you heard Rick Santorum say this week that it was a phony theology. I was taught this too. I know what he's talking about. I was taught to believe this. Phony theology to think that the story of existence and of our spiritual growth is about the earth. He said, it's about man. He didn't even use the noun humankind, which would have been nice, but we know he thinks it's about man. Well, I'd like to know what Rick Santorum eats. Wouldn't you? Because he wouldn't be alive without the earth. But it's the hubris and the pride, and it's coming from teachers culturally with an agenda. And that agenda has gone all the way around to crazy now. Because even they eat, and even they drink water, and even they breathe the air. It's not a religion. The earth is like a tennis ball or a golf ball. It's got a lot of layers, and nothing really escapes. It just keeps going round. And this atmosphere is, as far as I know, the top layer. A scientist could probably tell me better. But you can't hide this radioactive waste and what happens to an atom once it starts losing its electrons and changing the blueprint of life. So I want to tell those who talk about life and reverence for life and respect for life that this is about life, that these nuclear power plants have to be shut down. The sight of the Japanese workers who went in to clean up Fukushima Daiichi was so heartrending because we know many of them were young people that didn't have other jobs. And the shame to them of being out of work, and the shame of this accident, and the shame that they had believed in this. They were willing to honorably sicken and die in order to save their fellow Japanese. That was really going on. My Japanese daughter-in-law, she has been in our family a year, and I love her dearly, and her family is west of the mountains in Akita Prefecture. But she tells me about her friends in Miyagi and Sendai and Tokyo. She told me about those little Geiger counters that everybody has. And I have an 8-month-old grandson. As I said, the great-grandson my father never even imagined he would have is Japanese American. And these stories of mothers and fathers begging to know what's going on to their little ones at this vulnerable stage of their explosive growth into adult human beings is heartbreaking. And that is just the structure of their own bodies. Imagine what the future generations that are affected by this radiation will have to endure almost without explanation unless we keep this story going. That is why I'm here. This is murder. This is wrong. It is theological and it is about the earth because we're about the earth, man and woman and child. Thank you for letting me be here.